In an apocalyptic world overrun by zombies, the surviving humans are few and far between, with trust almost non-existent due to the scarcity of resources. Andy and his family have been living on a boat for over 2 months to stay safe, but food remains their biggest challenge. One day, Andy spotted an abandoned yacht and decided to search it for supplies. Using a mirror to check for any danger, he cautiously entered the cabin and was thrilled to find enough food to sustain them for months. However, as he was gathering the supplies, he heard a noise but dismissed it, quickly returning to the boat with the provisions. Unbeknownst to Andy, his wife Kay went to the yacht later that night while he was asleep, hoping to find something thoughtful, like a razor for him. While searching, she too heard the noise and realized the danger, but it was too late. Andy was awakened later by his daughters crying and discovered a trail of blood on the floor. Following it, he found Kay in the bathroom, tending to a wound. Shocked and confused, he learned that she had been bitten by a zombie. Kay handed him a countdown bracelet indicating she had only 48 hours before turning. Determined to save her, Andy quickly packed their belongings and decided to head for one of the government safe zones marked on a map, hoping to find a cure. Traveling on land proved far more dangerous than staying on the boat. They found a car, but as Andy was refueling it, Kay noticed a zombie approaching. Unable to call out, she signaled him by flashing the turn signal. Andy understood the warning just in time, jumping back into the car and driving away. However, Kay soon noticed her wound was worsening, her body covered in zombie blood, a clear sign of her transformation. Fearing she might harm her family, she tried to leave the car. Andy, refusing to abandon her, stopped and forced her back into the vehicle, even breaking the door handle to prevent her from escaping. As they continued their journey, tragedy struck again. A zombie appeared suddenly on the road, and in an attempt to swerve and avoid it, Andy lost control of the car, crashing into a tree. A branch pierced Kay's abdomen, and the impact left Andy unconscious. Their fight for survival had only grown more desperate. When Andy woke up from his coma, he noticed a message scrawled on the car door. His wife's face was already covered in zombie blood, and it didn't take long before she fully mutated. Trying to comfort his terrified daughter, Andy was caught off guard and bitten by his wife, now entirely consumed by the virus. After ensuring his daughter's safety outside the car, Andy returned to face his wife one final time, ending her suffering with his own hands. Overwhelmed by despair, he sat down and let out a roar of anger and sorrow. Thoughts of giving up crossed his mind, but for the sake of his infant daughter, he resolved to keep going. Taking the countdown bracelet from his wife, Andy reset it to 48 hours and prepared to continue his journey. With his daughter on his back, he set off, determined to find someone he could trust to care for her before his inevitable transformation. On the road, his daughter cried incessantly, so he sprayed a little of his late wife's perfume nearby. The familiar scent soothed the baby, calming her immediately. While walking, Andy came across the zombie that had caused their car accident. Just as he was about to finish it off with a branch, a woman named Thumi appeared and stopped him. She cut her palm with a sharp stone, using her blood to lure the zombie away. Andy noticed that Thumi had a unique way of coexisting with zombies, seemingly keeping some of her loved ones close, even after they had turned. After a brief encounter, Andy continued toward the 8th station on the map. When he finally arrived at the station in the dark, it wasn't what he expected. The building was abandoned and eerily silent. Inside, he found a woman named Ada sitting in a corner. She bandaged Andy's wound and explained that the station had been shut down long ago, due to the rapid spread of the virus. Andy hoped to entrust his daughter to Ada, but then she removed her wig, revealing that she was also terminally ill. Realizing Ada couldn't help, Andy decided to leave the next morning and continued his journey with his daughter on his back. As they traveled, Andy encountered strange zombies with their heads buried in the dirt. Any disturbance woke them, forcing Andy to proceed carefully. Eventually, he spotted a truck and approached it, hoping to use it. Unexpectedly, the truck's owner, Vic, appeared, followed by zombies attracted by the commotion. Vic was trapped in a pit and called for Andy's help. After retrieving the truck keys, Andy managed to start the vehicle, rescue Vic, and escape before the zombies could swarm them. Grateful, Vic took Andy to a gas station where he lived with his wife, Lorraine. Vic seemed affectionate toward Lorraine, giving her a necklace he had found, but she threw it aside in disgust when he wasn't looking. Andy didn't understand the tension between them, but focused on resting. Vic later invited Andy to join him outside, where he began teaching him how to shoot. Andy had no choice but to leave his daughter with Lorraine during the lesson, unsure of what lay ahead. A large group of zombies had gathered around a cage in front of Andy and Vic, seemingly drawn to something inside. Following Vic's lead, Andy quickly dealt with the zombies. However, as they approached the cage, Andy was horrified to find Thumi, the woman he had met earlier, locked inside. It became clear to Andy that Vic and Lorraine were using people's lives for their twisted games. Disillusioned, Andy began to doubt whether he could entrust his daughter to them. Meanwhile, Lorraine was caring for Andy's daughter when she noticed zombie blood on her clothes. Realizing what this meant, she silently cleaned the baby's clothes and hung them to dry, keeping her discovery to herself. When Andy returned, he saw the scene and understood that Lorraine knew he was infected. Unlike Vic, Lorraine showed genuine care, convincing Andy that she might be the right person to protect his daughter. That night, Andy made the heart-wrenching decision to say goodbye to his daughter. Running out of time, he prepared to end his life using the government-issued ejector needle. Just as he was about to inject himself, Lorraine appeared with his daughter. She revealed that she knew Andy was infected, but admitted she couldn't take care of the child. She wasn't Vic's wife. Vic had killed her real husband. She urged Andy to take his daughter and leave, warning him about Vic's dangerous nature. Lorraine's words, combined with Vic's earlier actions, confirmed Andy's suspicions. He remembered a family he had met by the river earlier, a couple with 2 daughters, and decided to find them, hoping they could take care of his child. However, before he could leave, Vic ambushed Andy, knocking him unconscious. When Andy woke, he found himself locked in a cage with Thumi. Time was running out as the infection progressed, and the sound of approaching zombies made escape urgent. Spotting a sausage hanging from the cage, Andy devised a plan. He tied the sausage to a rope and threw it to lure the zombies away. As the zombies scrambled for the food, Andy and Thumi managed to open the cage door and escape. They returned to the gas station where Andy quietly woke Lorraine and retrieved his daughter. Sneaking past the sleeping Vic, they made it outside and headed for the car. However, Vic woke up, shotgun in hand. Lorraine tried to stop him but was shot in the process. Gravely wounded, she still bought Andy and his daughter enough time to run. They fled into a cave, hiding while Vic angrily searched for them outside. As dawn broke, Vic finally gave up and left. Andy, Thumi, and his daughter waited silently in the cave, knowing they couldn't stay there much longer but grateful for the brief respite. Late at night, Thumi was startled awake by an odd noise. She turned on her flashlight and was horrified to find Andy licking blood off the stone wall. He was becoming increasingly bloodthirsty as his transformation into a zombie progressed. However, by dawn, Andy seemed to regain control and return to normal. The The group continued their journey with Andy, Thumi, and Andy's daughter pushing forward. While walking under a tree, Thumi suddenly stopped. She explained that her father, who had become a zombie, was killed by their clan and buried beneath this tree. After offering a prayer to her father, they moved on. However, Andy's condition worsened. Only 9 hours remained before his complete transformation. Struggling with pain, he eventually collapsed, unconscious. After recovering, Andy picked up his daughter and resolved to keep going. They eventually found the family Andy had been searching for, but he was devastated to see the man digging graves for his wife and daughters. The man explained that he too had been bitten and had no future. Andy asked if the man could take care of his daughter, but the man urged him to take her far away from this world. He handed Andy a pistol with 2 bullets and walked away. Moments later, Andy heard the haunting sound of gunshots. The man had used the bullets to kill his wife, his daughter, and finally himself. Staring at the pistol in his hand, Andy considered ending his life, but his daughter's cry of "Dad" snapped him out of it. With renewed determination, Andy continued forward. Thumi then suggested they head to her clan, as her people might take in and raise Andy's daughter. Seeing a glimmer of hope, Andy agreed, and they set off toward the tribe. Their path led through a dark cave filled with sleeping zombies. Thumi explained that these zombies, like the ones buried in the ground earlier, preferred the dark and could remain undisturbed if they were quiet. They carefully made their way through the tunnel, but were shocked to see Vic waiting for them near the exit. Vic seemed to sense their presence and began searching the area. To protect Thumi and his daughter, Andy instructed them to hide while he drew Vic's attention. Andy shouted Vic's name, provoking him, then hid among the zombies. Vic began slaughtering the undead, trying to locate Andy. Seizing the moment, Andy attempted to fight back. Despite his weakened state, he managed to shoot at Vic but failed to land a fatal blow. In retaliation, Vic overpowered Andy, knocking him to the ground. The fight wasn't over yet, but Andy's resolve to protect his daughter burned brighter than ever. Vic found the 2 children in the car, pulling Thumi out and picking up Andy's daughter. However, severely injured from a gunshot, Vic, in his final moments, chose not to harm the children. Thumi, though slightly injured, was safe. Andy, barely clinging to consciousness, followed them, his infection worsening with every step. Eventually, Andy collapsed, his face and mind succumbing to the zombie transformation. Struggling to remain human, he devised a plan. He tied Carrion to a branch and asked Thumi to take care of his daughter. Saying a tearful goodbye, Andy secured his daughter on his back, restrained his hands, and placed a brace in his mouth to prevent himself from hurting her. Despite becoming a zombie, Andy continued his journey, leading his daughter to Thumi's clan. The tribe, initially startled, was moved as they watched the zombie father delivering his child safely. After saving the children, the clan ended Andy's suffering and took in his daughter. Later, they discovered a note of thanks tucked in the child's clothing, a father's final message of love and gratitude.